and welcome to #Author Talks with Tahira Kashyap Khurana. Tahira needs no introduction. So she's an actor, an author, a director, a woman who wears many hats. And she's also a fun person to be around, witty, humorous, and known to have to speak her mind completely in an unfiltered way, if I put it like that. And it's great to have you here with us at Women's Web, Tahira. And welcome to this interview.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I could be all of that, but I'm not an actor.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
बहुत सारी acting हो जाती है, but I'm not an actor.
so uh, so let's talk about your journey, Tahira, from Chandigarh to Mumbai. So you've been a director and you've been associated with theater, and now you're an author. I mean, you've been an author, and this is your third book that we are going to talk about today. So how has your journey been? All thought through decisions?
No, yeah. I think I've landed up here by virtue of elimination. I have been very confused for most part of my life. But I sort of overlooked my own passion. I always took solace and joy and bliss and happiness in writing. I have been a single kid, and so my both my parents have been working, and so for me, writing gave me a lot of happiness. It became my biggest confidant, and I just didn't acknowledge over a period of time that I chose to write over doing so many other things, and I didn't have belief in myself that I can actually make a career out of it. So I
Right.
started doing other jobs and other things, and it didn't give me happiness. And of course, I was very confused, like I said, for most part of my life, and now I've come to believe that it's okay to be confused. It's okay to find your own calling. Some people just know what to do, and some people just figure it out. I think both the paths are absolutely fine, and I don't hold anything against myself for being confused. So, but I'm glad I'm writing. I'm enjoying writing, and the latest book which has come, which is the 12 Commandments of Being a Woman, is a piece. It's very close to my heart, and it's a very honest and of course a funny uh, way of and a quirky
Yeah.
way of approaching things, but it's very close to my life and my heart, so yeah.
Your earlier books have been fiction, and the one that you co-wrote with Ayushman, which is Cracking the Code, is about his journey. So what made you get to the point that that you should write about your journey and write it in a funny and a humorous way? So I've read excerpts from the book, and it's very relatable. I mean, something that we all have done, and like one of us. So you seem to be like one of us.
Of course I am. यार पहले कोई जानना ही नहीं चाहता था मेरे बारे में. चलो आयुष्मान के साथ उसके बारे में लिख देते since they want to know about him. But I think it's just come over a couple of years where there has been a surge in my self belief and I've worked. It's again there are two sorts of people who are really really confident about who they are and how they feel about themselves, and other people who really have to work towards it. I have been in the latter part.
Yeah.
So I have really worked towards being appreciative towards my own self. And once I started doing that, things started getting more and more clear. My voice started being heard loud and clear in my own head first, which is why other people could hear it as well. Which is why I really concentrate on self love. You need to love yourself for other people to love you and for you to spill a lot of love and happiness around.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I have really kind of worked towards it, and yeah, I have been a goofball for most part of my life. I still am. And so when challenges or tragedy sort of meets a goofball, it becomes funny in retrospect. And that's what is my book. It's I've gone through the lens of being a woman, like being a
Yeah.
girl, and each one of us, like you said, it's very relatable. All of us have gone through it, but we have not penned it down or perhaps not given much thought about it. But we do have funny episodes in our life. We do have quirky incidents in our life, and at that time it looks very very intense, but in retrospect it is funny. So I feel that's the kind of route I have taken. I try to go back in time and how I felt like a gawky teenager or a confused 20-year-old, didn't know where my career is going. feeling conscious about body image and body issues, to eating habits, to having kids and getting married. I think all of us go through that, and it's just that I've penned it down. And yes, it comes from the fact that you're able to relate with it. First of all, thank you. But I also feel it's because I've been brutally honest about a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I think that's where people have been able to resonate well with the book. So yeah.
So Tahira, tell us how difficult was it for you to, kind of put all those episodes on paper? It comes out as something very, you've put it across in a humorous fashion, but when it would have panned out and then revisiting the same memories. So how difficult it is to write nonfiction? So this is for the authors who are looking to write nonfictions. How difficult does it become?
Yeah, I feel it is, I think they're both pros and cons. One being that it's been a part of life, that there's a lot of clarity in terms of incidents, in terms of the
Mm.
setting. If I'm clearly speaking from the perspective of writers, as you're saying, since other writers would want to know, the setting, the character, the plot, the story is all clear in your head. So that's a positive. But the other part is it's about you're writing, and then you going actually back to facing the same challenges that you face, and you have probably overcome it, or you've probably brushed it under the carpet, you probably ignored it for the longest time, and now again you're revisiting it, and not just revisiting, you're writing every detail about it.
Mhm.
So that could be really, really intense. So yeah, I did, of course it was intense, but like I said, in retrospect, tragedy is always humorous, or at least I would like to sort of have that sort of a viewpoint. I like to view things from a light perspective, and not take myself or life too seriously.
So when you write about your life, you also write about a lot of people who've been associated with your life, your in-laws, your parents, your husband, your children. So how was their reaction to the book? And you know, do they did they feel that it's too much information given out, or
My
or
father could
have
the second chapter. He was like, I'm not interested in knowing your life. I don't want to know what all you did. I don't want to know that. So he truly hasn't. The rest of the family members, I have given them a lot of palpitation. So now when I enter a living area, they all zip up because they know whatever they speak becomes a potential source of material for me. So
yeah, for the sequel?
so they all have started being very conscious about what they speak. But yeah, I think I had some hearts racing out there when they once they were reading. And um yeah, I'm saying it's probably engaging and fun for strangers, for people, but for my family members, it did send them a few anxiety attacks, but they're dealing with it.
So moving on to talking about, the balance that all women have to strike in their life, the balance of being a mother and you've been, an actor's wife, which itself is tough. Then being a mother and dealing with your own passions as well as your responsibilities. So how did you manage to strike the balance?
Yeah, I think all of us are doing a whole lot of things. It's irrespective of where and who we are, and it's our environment. I mean to say, all of us are doing so much. You, Ruchi, you taking my interview, and I can see you have a beautiful home, and you're sitting. I believe you have kids too, because
Yes.
it's a bunk bed, and you're doing 1,000 other things. And so, my question to you is, how do you manage it? Just like how you manage, all of us, I think we do manage it. It's just that we are okay with multitasking, and men have it the easier way. They say, oh, we can't multitask. I think they pretty much can. They don't just don't want to take the responsibility. But all of us are doing a whole lot of things. Yeah, it's just that the kind of things that I'm doing, it's giving me a lot of joy, and so it doesn't become an errand for me. I love spending time with my kids. I love spending time with my family. I love to write. I love to work. I love to make films. So it's something which I truly am enjoying. So it's not much of a chore for me then. So yeah, space and time mil jata hai fir.
Said that, I feel that it does somewhere affect you mentally, So at some point in time when the kids are small, so I have faced that also when the kids are young and they need too much of mother's attention, then you somewhere feel, where is my career going? All of these questions and self-doubt. So did it happen to you?
Of course, it did. For the longest time, I too only have found my calling in the past 3 to 4 years. Before that, I was lost, and I used to feel guilty.
Yeah,
I still do. I have to fight those feelings. I think for as long as we are mothers, which we are going to be for the rest of our lives, this feeling
yeah,
of is always there. And I really wish it doesn't happen into our next generation. I mean,
absolutely. Yeah,
I don't want my daughter ever to feel guilty for the choices that she is making. But this is something we have grown up seeing our mothers do, our environment do, and so which is why at a very subconscious level, even without somebody telling you that you're accountable for everything happening in your environment, you just feel accountable for everything happening in your environment, whether that's your workplace or it's home, whether your child has failed or your dog has puked, everything is your fault. So I feel this is something that we all as a species, as a female species, need to work towards, and not just uh, take accountability for each and everything happening in your life. So yeah, I have felt guilty, and I still do feel guilty, but I also know that it's not the most correct emotion to have, and I need to work towards it. So the awareness, as long as there's awareness, and by the end of it, you're going to have the longest association with yourself in this lifetime, or in any other lifetime. So you might as well respect your body and your mind and your heart
absolutely.
and your passion and your desires. So if you feel like having a career, it's you most definitely should. You feel like becoming a mom, you most definitely should. And if you want the both to happen, that you most definitely should do both. So nobody should be allowed to sort of make you feel guilty for it, least of all yourselves. So yeah.
Does sisterhood help your circle of, girlfriends talking about your own? Uh,
Yeah, I feel humanity, it's just not sisterhood. I feel it comes from men too. I mean to say, the thing is, none of us live in isolation. We all are surrounded by both men and women. And if so, there is sort of understanding and compassion in everybody in your environment, and it just leads to a happy home and a harmonious workspace.
absolutely.
So if at all we can have a dialogue or engage in conversation and try to explain and seek that sort of support from the environment, there's nothing wrong. And I really wish everybody gets that sort of an environment where people are encouraging you to grow as a person,
Yeah.
and just not limit you to being a mom or to being a professional or to being this or that. There's so many aspects to everybody's personality, and it only makes sense if every aspect of your life it develops each year.
Everybody in the family has a role to play, your husband, your parents, your in-laws. So there's this support from everywhere. So talking about, your story and Ayushman's story, we also did a excerpt on the on from your book on our page, Women's Web, on our website, where we spoke about the time when you met Ayushman. So, and that brings me to the topic of love marriages in India. So it's, although very common in metros, it is still not very acceptable in most parts of the country. So your thoughts about it, and your advice to young people, that how should they navigate this particular phase in their life?
Yeah, and I'm no one to say that my love marriages over arranged marriages or arranged marriages over love marriages. I think whatever works for everyone, the idea is to be happy, and I think that should be given utmost precedence. You should be really giving a lot of importance to your happiness, and so whatever gives you happiness, if finding the person that you want to spend the rest of your life or as many years as you want to, and you want to take the onus of choosing a partner for yourself, there's nothing wrong with that, and the families should support it. On the other hand, if the person feels that, I would rather just go with my family's choice, India, we know there is matrimony happening on a very very big scale, and there are a lot of matches that are met there, that happen there. I mean to say, to each his own, yeah, Ruchi. I'm really not a one to say that, this is right and this is wrong, and having love marriages is cool and progressive. I mean to say, whatever gives everybody happiness here. So whatever, the idea is to seek for your happiness and to live a very happy, value adding life. So whatever helps you do that.
Okay, so coming back to your life so far. So tell us, what has been the most difficult part of your life during all of these years?
Um, The most tough part of my life was when I felt that I felt hopeless. So there was a time I did feel hopeless, and I have written about that in the book as well, which was pretty much um, for 10, 12 years of my life, 20s to early 30s. And that's how I felt. And that was a tough part, dealing with the mental well-being and unhappiness. And that was something very difficult to deal with. And but having said that, I feel the potential to overcome that also lies within us. So
Yeah,
we need support uh, from people, from connections from people. We need people to repose their faith and confidence in us. And if we have such a society where there are random people who have pinned their hopes on you, you outdo your own self. And so the dreams that you've set for self, you just amazed at your potential and to how much you can achieve. So I feel the toughest part for me was being feeling hopeless at one point of time. Though that's a feeling that we should all fight, because we all of us are born for a reason, and that reason is to be happy.
yeah.
So that was the tough part where I had sort of forgotten how to be happy.
I would have thought that you would talk about your victory over cancer. So we saw, how you dealt with it through social media filters, but how was it at a personal level for you?
Exactly how I had discussed with on social media. Genuinely, there was not an iota of pretension. There was not that I am happy for the lovely smiley that I'm putting and then brooding after putting my camera down. That's how I felt. But that's also how I felt because I had fought being unhappy earlier. So that was a bigger battle for me than cancer, because that was more self-consuming, and that's where I felt defeated in terms of being unhappy. And then when the awareness set in that, I have the power to become happy or to switch lies within me, I sort of extended that same perspective when I dealt with cancer. And so that's what I want to have. That's the kind of perspective that I want to have with every obstacle that I face. And as long as we are living, we are going to face challenges for the rest of our lives, Ruchi, whether that's
Yeah.
in the form of relationships or finances or marriage or health, or these are things that we're going to, something or the other is going to keep popping up for the rest of our lives. What is important is to work on your mental well-being and capacity so that you are able to deal with these challenges in the most constructive manner rather than being destructive about. And that's the kind of training that I extended when I faced cancer. So that's the kind of training which I experienced because of this lovely philosophy that I follow. I chant, I follow nature
Yes.
inspiration, and that's the kind of training I got, to view obstacles as an opportunity to become a better version of yourself.
How did your family take it? How did you deal with uh, your children? How did you, what were your thoughts of your parents? I mean,
Yeah, I mean to say it's not a very easy thing for anybody to have. Like it's a tough thing, and especially if it happens at the age of 30 or 35. How old was I? Yeah, I think so. 2 years back, yeah, 2 years back. So yeah, so that's not you don't expect that to happen. So of course, but life does challenge by virtue of definition. The definition of challenge is only something that you don't expect to happen in your life. So it was a challenge that came across our lives, and it did shake us, but it didn't sort of uproot us. And I think I got a lot of love, and I got a lot of support, and I got yeah, a lot of happy vibes from people in my environment, and all social media too. And so that really contributed to my strength and happiness.
talking about it just inspires others also to face it bravely. That's the power of social media. And, if there are people like you sharing, anybody who came back to you, talking about the strength that they derived from your experiences, any anecdote that you would like to share?
So yeah, I've been bombarded with a lot of messages. Yeah, like a lot of social media till date. On a daily basis, I get lot of messages. about how, but I feel that's what human connections are meant to be. We are meant to encourage, inspire, and pull each other up. So the days that I am low, I also go and I resort to help from my friend circle, or I was like, just कोई अच्छा सा joke सुना दे यार, बात कर ले यार, you know, it's always
Hmm.
depend, and there's, it doesn't make you a lesser person. In fact, it's important to reach out and have some sort of a dialogue. And social media has played a very, very important role. So people do talk about all the negative effects, but the positives are also very, very huge. I mean to say, I could talk about early breast cancer detection only through my social media, and I continue to sort of speak about it. And that has really helped a lot of people. I was really surprised that a lot of women who were procrastinating getting themselves examined actually went and got themselves examined. And a lot of women got the power to deal with their chemotherapy sessions, with the procedure or the radiation or the surgery in a more joyful manner. And I'm just
Yeah.
so grateful for that.
Okay. So coming back to your book, 12 Commandments of Being a Woman. So tell us about the favorite part of your book. What is it that it's really close to your heart?
Yeah, it's very difficult to choose between your own children who is the better one. I need to say all those chapters are a part of my life, and I would not say that this phase of my life was better than that, because of these phases is why I could write the book that I wrote. So I have utmost gratitude for all the challenges that I faced, and every part of my book is favorite. So you've got to read the entire book.
Being an author now, do you feel that the landscape for women in the literary industry is changing? You see more women authors coming up?
I see a lot of women authors. I see a lot of women voices, female voices coming up in terms of filmmaking, and so it's about time that we do have representation, not only in terms of the stories written about women, but by women as well. So there's a lot of empathy and a lot of sensitivity and a lot of resonating stuff that can come when it comes from someone who's experienced it rather than observation. And I'm glad there are women's stories being written, but there's I still have hopes for more. I would love to see a parity, like a 50-50%.
Yeah.
50% movies about women, 50% books about women. So I would love to see that parity.
So we have an event coming up for authors, which is called the Orange Flower Awards and Festival. So any tip or a piece of advice that you would like to give women authors who are trying to make it big?
That they must have belief in themselves to begin with. It really, really, I know, as cliched as it may sound, but it truly starts from that. You need to have belief in yourself for people to have belief in you. You need to love yourself for people to love you. You need to be happy yourselves for you to become a source of happiness for other people and attract more happiness in your lives. So the crux of the matter is that you're the most powerful being in your own life. Please appreciate, acknowledge that the power that you have, and that power is something that is going to transform you and help you achieve your dreams. Mhm.
थोड़ा सा philosophical, but yeah, very deep.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move to the fun section now. So we're going to talk about some of your favorite things,
All right.
and very quickly we will do this. So your favorite Hindi movie?
अ, अभी मैंने लूडो देखी है, तो मुझे लूडो बहुत पसंद आएगी राइट नाउ.
Nice. Your favorite Hindi show?
Yeah, I have.
पुराना भी हो सकता है, like childhood show is also okay.
Oh, हम पांच.
Yeah. Okay, so your favorite holiday destination?
I don't want to call favorite. I don't want to keep going to one place time and over again. And I would love to explore more places within India. So I want to travel east. So that's not my
Okay,
favorite, but to be like I want to go there and I want to explore. I haven't explored.
okay. On your list.
Yeah, northeast.
Okay. Your favorite book?
I just there are a lot many. Yeah. So the recent one that read, I really liked was Three Daughters of Eve. So that's by Elif Shafak. So I quite liked it.
Great. Your favorite all-time author?
Elif Shafak and Mitch Album and Murakami.
Oh, yeah. Some, I mean, common favorites there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, your favorite color?
Purple.
Wow. Your favorite day of the week?
Thursday. I don't know why. Thursday.
Okay, your favorite lines, like your takya kalam, what you speak most often.
Right now तो मैं इसी के गुन गा रही हूँ कि खुश रहो यार, खुश रहो. Just be happy.
Okay. And the last question, your favorite Bollywood actor.
Mm,
Ah.
Ranbir Kapoor.
Okay. So on that note, we will just wrap up this session. It was lovely having you with us, Tahira,
Thank you so
and
much. This
whole
was
lot of fun chatting up with you.
likewise, likewise. Thank you so much.